welcome back to Peterson Auto. Yeah, that's the 88 there. And this is the other side suspension going together. So, been thinking very in depth about this, and it's a panhard bar mount. So here's a panhard bar. You can't see it from here, unfortunately, but there's a little bracket I added onto the bottom of the bag mount. You know, to mount it on this side, which that works great. That works great. But over here now, we got the axle. We got to mount it on there somehow. Now, obviously, this is suspension fully aired down, so this is not where we want this at ride height. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit and everything. I'm gonna get this bag with some air in it, and that bag with some air in it, and get it up to ride height. But we're making a mount right now. We're going to mount it to the rear cover and where this bolt goes in. So it's going to mount here, and a couple of these cover bolts here are going to be used. I do have the thin aluminum cover on here, as you can see. The stamped steel covers, there's kind of a lip right here, which makes it a bit of a challenge to do such a project. You got to space it out. So thin aluminum cover actually work a little better for that. I've seen a lot of them done like this on, like, you know, on Mustangs and whatnot. So since it's only going to go and handle side-to-side movement, I think we'll be good. So that's today's project, is get that roughly made up and maybe do some more work on this side of the suspension and see where we get in the long run of it. So we'll get you our plan here in a moment. Alright, so I have this piece of angle iron here. We're going to use this as our starting piece of metal for this whole ordeal. This is going to go ahead and be the part that the bolts to the back side of the diff cover. I also have this diff cover gasket here. It's simply set in place where we need it. And we're going to trace it. Once we trace it, we'll have the shape of the diff cover. We can cut this out, and that'll bolt, if you get the holes right, it'll bolt right onto the back there, the little longer bolts, and you'll be good. So get that traced for you here. Alright, well, now you can see it's traced out. Got 1, 2, 3, and you can kind of see it over here because it's dirty, but 4 bolts. So 4 bolts I think going to be adequate there. It's about as much as you're going to get on that. I'm going to have to make sure this interior contour is done up pretty good. Might try this with the plasma cutter. I think it's 1/8 inch. It might be 3/16. Who knows? Either way, might just cut it out with the plasma cutter then. But gonna drill the bolt holes, all 4 of them. Make sure those happen. Then cut it out, and that's gonna be the start of our bracket. The mounting point is gonna be from here and then down somewhere. We'll have to get that mocked up once we get this cut out and fab that out, which we're going to probably use just this piece of steel here, honestly, to make that work. So I'm going to get some holes drilled, get this cut out, and see what we got there. Right over here you can see I lopped that big part of the angle off, so now it's a flat stock. So I'm going to go drill out the 4 holes while I can fit it in the vise because it's still fairly square. And then we're going to cut the rest of it off and make it pretty. Well, now we got this. It's really rough, really crude. Kind of messed that up. Tried to do more of a curve and it didn't work. Should have just put another straight cut in there and cleaned it up. But either way, we're going to clean it up, make it look pretty. Hit the edges with the grinder and everything, smooth them out, make it look like a nice bracket. And then we'll have a piece going here, and I think it's down here. The bolt through the top to make that all work out. So get it cleaned up for you next, and if you haven't watched it, check out the DIY redneck tubing notching video I'm gonna be posting around the same time as this. Probably set it to come out the next week that I just did, and that's how I was making the link bars. Alright, well, here we go. We got a top plate don't know if you can see it back there. The back plate I made is now on and in place. So we have the top plate and the side plate. The side plate's hitting up here, so it's going to need trimmed down some. We have a top plate there. It's going to have a mount, and when I move this, now you can see that back plate, and you can kind of see the hole we're using right there. Wow, it's horribly hard to see. But see the hole we're using to mount it. So gonna make that hole in here. Best way to do that is just to take measurements off this corner, make this corner match up with that corner, which I cut it to the right length to do that. So get that hole drilled, get the top plate tacked in, get the bottom plate cut, and then weld it all up. We'll have a panhard bar mount to the axle. Then suspension fabrication work in the rear of the vehicle, because I still have the whole front to do, will be done. Well, it's a little ugly, but it'll function. There's the bracket. Panhard mount on the Dolly build. Yeah, it's loose on the right side there. I'd have to air it up and have to get other bolts for this actually. To bolt it onto the diff cover, because now my bolts are a little bit on the short side. And they're 5/16 bolts. I usually don't use 5/16. I usually just go up to 3/8, but that's what it comes with, so now I need to go find them. Well, so bracket's done now. That's the good news. I'll probably put a coat of paint on it and everything. But I gotta pull a bunch of other stuff apart too, including the frame side mount there you can see hanging down. So, and I'll probably add something for this. I think I'll move it over a little bit and back to this notch here. And then just weld a little tab on it to mount that. And we'll have our air ride suspension and everything all in one bracket. It'll be nice. So, either way, that's the bracket. That's basically how I built the thing. We'll give you a quick shot of it off the vehicle. Here it is off the vehicle. That's your back side there. Those 3 bolts will bolt into the diff cover. I've already made sure they line up. And that should locate everything. I accidentally cut a little much off, so welded it back on. I may have to clean that up. I may just leave the weld there. It's sealed. You know, welds are nicely penetrated into the metal. May clean up this corner down here a little bit. But, you know, either way, bracket's complete and fabbed up, so we're going to call that part a day and get us something else that will clean it up, paint it, and put it all together, and then we can roll this around. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Peterson Auto.